When I first started coming out of the closet, I was a teenager, about 15. It was the late 80s, and I was in the American Deep South. So it was scary. It was frightening. And I did it in a slow progression. You started telling people who were the closest to me, sort of gauging their reactions. How did that go? And then slowly bringing more and more people into this sort of circle of trust, until eventually, by the time I got to university, I was in a mental place that I could just be open about it. And for me, what that means is not walking around wearing a sign or telling everyone who will listen about the fact that I'm gay. It means not hiding it. So if someone asks you a direct question or a question that's relevant to it, you don't avoid telling the truth. You don't avoid hiding who you are. You certainly don't lie about who you are or pretend to be something you're not. I appreciate that for a lot of people, it remains a terrifying thing to do. I saw someone online the other day talking about, he's a man in his 50s, he has a teenage daughter. He absolutely will not come out to her. And he says it's for her own good. He argued that she had some exams coming up and it would be a huge distraction. And anyway, she would probably tell people and they would find out and they'd start bullying her. So it was really in her best interest for him to continue to lie to her and pretend to be someone he's not. I understand it's frightening for people. I've known a lot of grown men who stayed in the closet, and I'd be hard-pressed to think of too many of them that I would say are psychologically healthy people. It's toxic. It's toxic to live your life lying about who you are, lying to the people you love and who love you, and hiding away as though there's something to be ashamed of. Now, I don't think anybody should be forced out of the closet. I don't think anybody should be dragged kicking and screaming out of the closet, because that's not in anyone's best interest. It doesn't help society, and it certainly doesn't help the person who's being dragged out. So it's something that everybody has to do on their own terms and in their own time. But if you are not working towards that, then you're going to pay a price. There is a cost to staying in the closet. It is toxic to your mental health. It certainly would have been for me. I've seen some people argue that, well, I'm so introverted, I wouldn't talk about my private life regardless. Maybe so, maybe so. For me, that distinction comes down to, are you lying? Are you deliberately deceiving and pretending to be something you're not? If you're doing that because you're afraid you're in physical danger, or if you're living in a circumstance where you're reliant on other people for your housing and you fear that they may throw you out into the street. So if you're a young person who's relying on parents who are homophobic, for example, then there are legitimate reasons of self-preservation to keep it quiet. I understand that. But if you are not in that situation, please don't think you're doing anybody any favors by lying to them. And for the outside world who aren't wrestling with this issue of coming out, what I would ask is, please try to be sensitive to the fact that if you think about the last time you spoke about your kids, think about the last time you spoke about your spouse, your husband, your wife, or boyfriend or girlfriend if you're not married. For a gay person, doing any of those things, talking about our families, is going to be interpreted by some people as an aggressive, offensive move. Just the other day, I saw someone on MSNBC screaming about the presidential candidate, the gay one, because he was seen on camera sharing a quick smooch with his husband. And she said, oh my God, he's forcing his sexuality in our faces. And that's what we deal with. Obviously, not everybody feels that way. But anytime we talk about who we love, our families, our home life, it's interpreted by some people as an aggressive and offensive thing to say. So try to be sensitive to that. Especially if you know someone who's step by step working their way out of the closet. It's a hard, frightening thing for a lot of people. Even today, you might think that there aren't many problems for gay people left, but trust me, if you think that, you're living in a bubble, because it's still a dangerous world. Thank you very much for listening.